5 then. Let's meet our players. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is Hershel. Oh, wow, I got to get rid of those. Get out of there. There we go. Hershel's a local. Another local here from Lubbock. I think this is his home store. Sitting across from him on the right-hand side of your screen, that's going to be Braxton. Braxton is bringing Boba Data Vault, and Hershel is on Talzin Red Force. So let's come all the way over to here. There we go. And there is our matchup. No, I haven't fixed one of the leaders yet. I'll come back to that in a minute. But we're set up and ready to go otherwise.
There you go. So yeah, Talzin Red. This is a deck that, as I mentioned earlier, did take a little bit of a hit without Force Throw last week. No top cut appearances. We'll see what Hershel can do here today. Now, starting out this game, Braxton with the initiative, playing the Kylo's TIE Silencer. And we see the Acolyte coming out for Hershel. So the Acolyte on attack and when defeated, the Force is with you. So Hershel, a good opportunity to claim the Force early here in game 2. Braxton has the initiative. And it is going to be open fire, taking out the Acolyte. Now, when defeated, Hershel will get the Force, but dealing damage here,
he wants to use his Force token. That's okay. I can live with that. I've got my big ones out there, but that's cool. He can make that work. That's cool. Oh, yes. And then
indirect damage.
One indirect damage because Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah. Boba Fett. That is the story of these Boba Fett Data Vault decks. Lots of indirect damage will be coming through in this game. Kylo's TIE Silencer getting in for 3. Secretive Sage for Hershel. So Hershel getting a cheap Force unit in the ground arena. Hershel will start this turn with the initiative for the first time in game 1.
You know, when you look back through the results recently for this Boba Data Vault deck, right, it seems to perform consistently enough into an open field that it makes a lot of top cuts. But so far, and I think you just said this, or maybe you're talking about Talzin, but just there hasn't been any wins for this deck yet. No PQ wins for Boba Fett Data Vault that I know of.
Yeah, that's right. Last weekend, first weekend without Force Throw, 10 top cut appearances for this Boba 4 Data Vault deck. No wins. Now, Talzin's Assassin giving Kylo's TIE Silencer -3/-3. The Silencer defeated, but Fett's Fire Spray coming out. 2 indirect, plus another one from Boba's triggered ability, so 3 total indirect damage. And that is going to be put on the Assassin. First couple damage to Data Vault here in game 1. Secretive Sage swinging for 2. Braxton back with the initiative.
Braxton drew one of my favorite cards and then ended up resourcing it. Made me very sad right there.
What was it?
It was a TIE Bomber. I love the TIE Bomber out of Jump to Lightspeed. That is just one of my favorite cards. It's just so simple and elegant in how it works, and occasionally really irritating for your opponent to deal with.
Definitely. And we see Fett's Fire Spray immediately getting into Hershel's base. 4 damage. Plus, we've got 3 total indirect coming through here. The on attack, plus another one with Boba's triggered ability.
I think he's just going to end up putting it all on the base. He doesn't have much. He's only got 3 HP total on ground units, so I think all 7 of that went to the base, right? Is it 11 on? Did I count right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. 11 damage on Hershel's base. 17 HP remaining.
Did you ever play Star Wars Destiny, Josh?
I did not.
Okay,
I have heard lots about it, but I have not played that game.
I've mentioned this on previous streams and to different folks, but I remember when they added indirect damage to that game. It came in a little later than it did here. They added indirect damage about the 4th set. I think in Destiny it was a little later than that, but I remember how impactful it was because it starts to radically change the math in so many unpleasant ways for folks. And I still feel like indirect damage, because we've only really had one good set of support out of it, one set to support it. We haven't seen what it's capable of yet.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a really excellent point. I mean, it's a very interesting mechanic for sure. Speaking of indirect damage, 2 more indirect damage coming through with that wind plate ability on Dornier Gunship. 1 indirect damage to Hershel's base, 1 was put on Secretive Sage. Now we do see the Old Daka here. So defeating a friendly knight unit not named Old Daka, so the Talzin's assassin defeated and then gets to be played again. So you get that wind plate ability once again. Nice little combo.
I see what he's going to do here too, because he's knocked down the fire spray, and then he's going to use Talzin to get rid of it.
Yeah, excellent line, excellent sequencing for Hershel, being able to give Fett's fire spray a total of -4, -4. Talzin deployed. Here comes another 3 damage from Talzin. 11 damage on Braxton's base, and Hershel has complete control of the ground arena here, but you do still have damage showing in the space arena for Braxton, and running that 33 HP base, still a bit ahead in the damage count right now, or in the HP remaining in the race.
And Braxton's starting the round on the button. Now Boba Fett, of course, wants to deploy into the space arena, and get his little direct damage ability. That would help him start to clear this ground arena out a little bit. But, I mean, you're facing Villain Blue. You have to be wary of Power of the Dark Side. And it looks like he's just going to go straight to the throat and not take too many chances here.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent call, because Power of the Dark Side would be brutal in that spot. Get the 4 damage in, guaranteed 16 damage on Hershel's base. Now, Hershel has a ton of actions to take here before he would even be forced to play anything, so he can really buy some actions. Old Daka is a big unit.
That is a big hit.
I mean, this is coming through. This is 6 damage coming through just like that. 17 damage on Braxton's base.
Yep. One thing we don't talk about a lot that I think is noteworthy, Force Throw was a red neutral card, so you saw it a lot in all red decks of all colors. But getting rid of it has really hurt, in my opinion, the hero decks more than the villain decks, because the villain decks could always just call the audible and put in Force Lightnings if they weren't already running them.
Right. Yeah, Force Lightning's still very real in these villainy aggression decks. We do see 3 more damage to Braxton's base with Talzin. Boba Fett leader unit, -1/-1 after Boba Fett was deployed into the ground arena. And here comes a Force Choke. 5 damage to Talzin's assassin. Will allow Hershel to draw a card.
Braxton here making a choice that you don't see very commonly out of Boba Data Vault players, deploying Boba into the ground arena. I don't know if he felt like he was forced into this, or this was always the plan, or he was just worried about Power of the Dark Side. But either way, I think it's a very strong play that a lot of folks simply discount.
So Hershel tried to load up the Secretive Sage with the Saber there, and Braxton with a quick response, disabling Fang Fighter to defeat the Fallen Lightsaber.
Yeah, bad timing there for Hershel. Braxton having just exactly what he needed in his hand to be like, I'm going to try. Hershel's like, I'm going to try something. Braxton's like, nah, I don't think I'm going to let you do that.
Braxton still has Boba ready. 3 power. Because again, it has the -1/-1. Here comes that Force Lightning that you talked about. And it looks like Hershel is going to pay the resour's necessary to deal.
He doesn't have quite enough to kill it. He can only deal 4 damage.
Not quite enough.
Yeah, he only had 3 resources standing, so he's going to deal a little bit of damage to Boba. He will clear Boba, but not before Boba gets in for 3 this round.
Yeah, the guaranteed 3 important for Braxton. We're going to see Secretive Sage come in and take out Boba Fett. Leader unit just losing the shield token. 10 HP remaining on Hershel's base. Braxton claims.
Probably not the turn that Braxton was hoping he was going to have there, but I think he navigated it very well. He was able to play around a possible Power of the Dark Side. He doesn't know if his opponent has it, so he's got to pretend like he does, right? Or it's, unless your back's against the wall, you're going to at least pretend like you do. That way you don't fall into that trap and get blown out by it. But he does have 3 very impactful cards in his hand. We'll have to see if those can carry him over the finish line, because he does still have a very narrow health lead as we head into the 7 resource round.
Yeah, this could be a Maul play incoming. He's
yeah.
got that Maul in hand, the
I think
7
that,
cost.
that 1 health Sage
ambush.
looks tasty. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Maul coming out. 7 power ambush with Overwhelm, 6 damage to Hershel's base. Maul still has 4 HP remaining with 6 damage to base. Just 4 HP remaining. The Dornian gunship is threatening Fatal with Braxton's next action.
Yeah, Hershel's in trouble now because he was looking like, okay, I've got a little bit of time, and now he does not have time. He has no time at all. He's got to solve this board state to try to stay in this game.
I think he's got another Force Lightning, so this will at least take care of the gunship.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, he will. He's got enough there to get rid of it.
Yeah, a total of 4 resources spent. 6 total damage to the gunship, but we do see 3 damage coming through for Braxton. That is just 1 HP remaining on Hershel's base, so Hershel has to answer both of these units.
He's got to have an answer. I mean, Braxton's tapped out completely. You have to believe his next action is claim and force Hershel to have a response. He's going to go Mystic Reflection.
Okay. Mystic Reflection does give the Disabling Fangfighter -2/-2 because Hershel controls a Force unit. Uses Talzin attacking into Maul, the on-attack ability, helping out, taking Maul out. So Hershel has the board control here. But, one card that these Boba Data Vault decks love to run, it's Devastator, hunting the Rebellion. And that could come out right now and seal the deal because Braxton could assign that indirect damage.
There it is.
And he's got it. Devastator hunting the Rebellion. That will deal the indirect damage to Hershel's base. Braxton taking game 1 in a game that ended up pretty tight.
Yeah, Hershel doing a really good job, starting upside down in the base race. 5 HP is not as bad as the gap we saw, back in round 4 between ECL and Data Vault, but it's still noteworthy. Hershel did a great job kind of, getting back into the game, so to speak, and just not able to get across the finish line. Braxton just barely ahead.
Strong performance for Braxton. The immediate response to the Fallen Lightsaber was a great play on that previous turn. And then Maul, I think, very important in this matchup because this is a matchup where Hershel is going to be heavy in the ground arena. You know that you have Hershel putting this indirect damage or spreading it out on those ground units. So I think Maul is going to be a real linchpin for Braxton in this matchup.
Yeah, big time. Because that's the thing about these Force decks. They tend to run cards like Secretive Sage, like, say, Karis, something that is fairly on the weaker side but is going to be in the ground arena. That's all it needs to get in is a little bit of chip damage to get that Force token going. And if that, if those kinds of units either come out of the mid-game or still linger into the mid-game, Maul's looking at that like a tasty snack, and he's ready to run it over and push through some base damage on the downhill slope. All right, well, while these guys do some sideboarding, I have a quick ad roll to run. Actually, you know what? Let's do that after. Let's hope we go to Game 3. I might push it then. But I will do a quick shout-out to some more of my Patreon folks. My Patreons do a great job of supporting me. They've helped me fund a couple of these trips. They've helped me get a little bit of extra gear. The hand cameras that I'm using now, the PTZ cameras, which unfortunately I wasn't able to deploy today, but I do have that capability in the stable. That is a thing. So I'm going to shout these guys out. We've got 4 here. I've got Jason Griffin, Michael Karnick, Jackson Jernan, and Tom Barbour. Some of those guys have actually moved on from paying in, and that's fine. I just want to make sure and shout them out because they have supported me at one time or other, and that has made a difference. So huge shout out to you guys. Thank you very much.
Excited to see how these two players navigate game 2, and I'm really curious, outside of things like the Force Lightning, surely Hershel's running some Power of the Dark Side, but, how does he stabilize the space arena? That's the big question. I mean, obviously taking advantage of these minus HP effects on Talzin's assassin and Talzin herself, but
Yeah.
this does seem like one of these matchups where Hershel, being the Force deck you talked about, heavy and ground,
Yep.
and Boba just, for the most part, wants to go to space. I think Braxton, as you called out, very smartly played around the Power of the Dark Side, not deploying Boba onto the gunship.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Braxton wants to be in the air.
I don't think Hershel had one in hand, but that's the thing. When you're fighting if you're playing any kind of pilot deck and you single unit or whatever, deploying into that is just it feels bad. You've probably done it at least once because you didn't think about it. I know I have, right? But
Right.
I mean, once you do it once, you learn a very valuable lesson very, very quickly. Now Braxton has taken the mulligan here, so he's stuck with whatever he draws. I get the impression he was looking for something very specific in his opening hand. He kind of agonized over it and then decided to throw it back. He does at least have a turn 1 play here, and that what is that thing? The missile boat or whatever that thing is on the 3 resource is another really strong play for Boba in this matchup. So we'll see if that's what he decides to go with.
So Hershel with the initiative. Game 2 underway. Secretive Sage in the ground arena for Hershel. We see the TIE Bomber, one of your favorite units coming out there. The 0-4 that has that great on-attack ability, 3 indirect damage to the defending player, pairing perfectly with Boba's ability.
One of the reasons I love a card like TIE Bomber into a matchup like Talzin is her game text does nothing of note to it, right? It's like, yeah, you can shrink me all you want. I don't care. Take 3 indirect. I'm just like, I don't care. Do whatever you want. You're taking 3 indirect.
Hershel still has the initiative here. First play is going to be the Grand Inquisitor. Putting more pressure. Force units in the ground arena. Now we are going to see 4 total indirect damage with the TIE Bomber swinging in here. And it looks like all of the indirect damage put on the units. 3 on the Grand Inquisitor, 1 on Secretive Sage.
Yeah. 2 1 HP units in the ground arena. This is the strength of playing all this indirect with Boba, is that occasionally you kind of force your opponent into this corner where he looks down and he's got units in the ground arena, but they're all basically next to dead.
Yeah. Secretive Sage getting in for 2, but there is the great 3-cost unit you talked about, the droid missile platform. Hits for 4, deals 3 indirect damage when defeated. So lots of indirect damage on the board early here in Game 2 for Braxton.
Hershel starts the round on the button. You have to believe he wants to get either A, rid of one of these things, or B, some units on the board to absorb some more of this indirect. In a perfect world, he wants to be able to kill that goofy droid thing, action 1. But if he does that, he's got indirect to take. So it's like, well, what do you do? You're kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we could see something like a Force Lightning. I think he's got Force Lightning in his hand. So if he wanted to, he could go after that.
He could.
Missile platform, take it out.
And get rid of it for no cost. I say no cost. He would cost him a card and some resources, but it wouldn't cost him damage on his base or his units. So that has to have some appeal, and there it is. That's the play.
There it is. Okay, Force Lightning, 2 total resources, taking out the missile platform. No indirect damage back because it lost its abilities. We are going to see another 4 indirect damage here. TIE Bomber attacking, Boba triggered ability. All 4 going into base this time for Hershel. But of course, the ground arena open. Grand Inquisitor swinging in for a total of 4. Secretive Sage coming through for 2. That's 8 damage on Braxton and his base now.
Braxton had a couple of good options in his hand there. He was sitting on a Fett's Fire Spray and a resupply, and he opted to go for the ramp. Now, what's interesting to me is that gives him some options next round. Like, Boba can come out this round if he wants. So he could just slam Boba to the ground arena. He can put out the Fire Spray and deploy Boba onto it. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that he can do here to help keep that ground arena as clear as possible. He did just resource an overwhelming barrage, which I was a little surprised, but I think he might have another one in his hand. It's hard to tell.
The first action, Braxton keeping the indirect damage train rolling with TIE Bomber. Another 4 total with the attack and Boba's triggered ability. And now once again, Hershel has that decision to make. I mean, if it doesn't all go on base, one of these units will be defeated.
Yep. Opting to keep the board ticking. Hershel absorbing all of this damage onto his base so he can keep his units on the board.
8 damage on each base, but of course Braxton the lead because of the 33 HP on Data Vault.
I'm going to be really curious to see how Braxton decides to navigate this turn. Boba Data Vault is one of those decks that I've always wanted to kind of build and spend the time with and kind of get to know and get better at, and I never have. And everybody seems to play a deck that is within, I'd say maybe 5 to 10 cards of being the same, but everybody also seems to play it a little differently. Like some people don't play ramp at all. Obviously Braxton does. We saw him throw the resupply down last round. So the resupply now allows him to catch up and deploy his leader the same round that Mama Talzin comes onto the board. But how's he going to play it? Are we going to go ground? Are we going to go space? Are we going to play space unit and put him on it? Like, so many different options he's got.
Yeah. I think he absolutely wants to continue to play around the power of the dark side, and I think that's why we see once again Boba coming into the ground arena.
Yep.
With a 4-7. But here is Curate, and that will stand in Boba's way this time. A great Sentinel unit for Hershel in response. But here comes overwhelming barrage. 6 total damage will clean up both the Grand Inquisitor and Chirrut. What a response for Braxton.
That's the round you want to see the OB on. Very, very nicely navigated.
He certainly had another one in hand. My goodness, that is a big-time barrage.
Yep, he did have another one in hand. I watched him resource one, and I thought, no way. And then, yeah, he did. He did have another one sitting in there. Hershel.
See, this is one of those instances. This is one of those great examples of why Force Throw was so good in this deck, right? In this Mother Talzin deck. And how much it misses it, right? He's got one resource. He has the Force, right? He has the Force unit in play. So Boba coming in for a total of 5. Had 6 power. Got -1/-1 from Mother Talzin. Yeah, you can see it. You can see the look on Hershel's face. He knows this is a terrible spot after that barrage. Gets in for 2, 13 damage on Braxton's base.
And he's, I forgot. Yeah, he's got these little weenie stormtroopers in there too.
Yeah, the First Order Stormtrooper coming out. Talzin deployed. Talzin quickly attacking and taking out the First Order Stormtrooper. 3 to base, -1/-1 to the Stormtrooper. 1 indirect damage onto Hershel's base.
I'm a little surprised to see him take that damage on his base. I don't think I would have made that choice. I think I would have thrown it on Talzin, but we'll see.
It is a good point, right? We saw it in game 1. Every damage so crucial. Knowing that so much indirect damage can come through. Now, if Braxton can somehow get that shield token off the sage, we could see another massive maul play. But right now, the shield token protecting Hershel from a ton of overwhelm damage.
I mean, he could get the shield token off, but to do that would require him to attack with Boba into him, and I'm willing to bet he's not going to do that.
Oh yeah, no, that would not be very efficient.
I don't exactly. Like I don't know why you would do that just to set up the big. Like you just go for the base and then make your opponent do something with the sage, right?
Braxton has the first action. It is going to be Maul. Maul is going to come in and ambush Mother Talzin. Talzin defeated. No overwhelm damage, but the leader unit on Hershel's side back to the base zone. Another strong Maul play for Braxton here in this round.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling when you can clear Talzin, and it also allows him to know that I'm not going to have to deal with any of the shrinking shenanigans this turn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hershel has plenty of resources to work with, but he's staring down quite a bit of damage with these 2 units still in play that are ready.
Yeah, Braxton still has a lot of potential threats on the board here. Hershel has a few cards in hand. We'll have to see what he decides he wants to try to deal with it, but he's only got 1 HP of unit on the board, and that feels pretty awful when you know your opponent is going to be smacking you around with buku indirect damage.
So the Secretive Sage does attack into Boba. Shield token gone off of Sage, so if that Sage sticks around, Maul could absolutely swing into it and stay on the board.
I think I would attack with Boba here. I'm a little surprised to see him reaching for the bomber. He's debating. I think if it were me, I'd just go ahead and swing him with Boba and get the damage in, but he chooses differently.
Bomber coming through, 3 indirect damage. It is going to go all onto Hershel's base. 17 damage on, 11 HP remaining. Cards in hand for Hershel. It looks like he's holding a Power of the Dark Side. I believe another Force Lightning. Can't quite tell.
It's the sun.
Is it the sun?
It's the sun. Yeah, it's the sun. There, and that's why I think I would have done it. Now he could have done either one, but the Boba would have hit just a little harder.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So Force Lightning comes out, dealing 6 total damage to Boba Fett. Boba Fett leader unit defeated. Braxton has just claimed. Hershel is going to play Power of the Dark Side. TIE Bomber finally dealt with. But Braxton with the initiative has Maul in the ground arena. We know that Braxton has the ability to get in for at least 7 if he goes straight to base.
Well, we've also hit, for Braxton at least, we've also hit the all-important, actually no, both players now have 8 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Yeah, so you're 8 for Hershel, and I feel pretty. I feel like I've seen I thought I saw a Devastator in Hershel's hand at one point, but I guess it wasn't there. Ooh, Braxton's sitting on a planetary bombardment.
Oh my goodness, that would be crazy. 7 damage into Hershel's base. Planetary bombardment, so good.
Yeah, I think we're about to see the game end. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Hershel decides to put on the board.
25 damage on Hershel's base. Yeah, he's going to have to soak up a lot of indirect damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Again, some of his next play I think is going to depend on. Okay, so now the planetary looks a little less appealing. You probably don't go that route now. No, that's not Malik. I hit the wrong button. My apologies.
So it is going to be Fett's Fire Spray coming out for Braxton. That is going to be some indirect damage, 3 total. All being put on the sun.
Now, the interesting thing is that
the 4th right now.
The interesting thing is that the Sage can now, clear Maul.
Yeah, absolutely. The sun
couldn't
boosting him up.
Couldn't do before, but yeah, Braxton just claims the Fire Spray. Oh, look at his hand!
My goodness, double planetary bombardment. Braxton had damage coming for days, but Braxton takes it 2-0 over Hershel. Boba Data Vault over Mother Talzin Red Force. Boba continuing to string together some runs here. Braxton right on the verge of a top cut finish.
Yeah, I believe Braxton now moves to 4-1, so I think we're getting pretty close now. And of course, next round is the last round of Swiss. So we'll have to keep an eye on all of this and see where folks land. But man.